Hey, what up, gamers? It's your boy ThrabenU here for some legacy action. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another legacy video, and we're gonna bring it back to normal vibes now after that ridiculous intro. And today we're going to be playing with a pretty unique build of the Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog combo deck list. So the general combo is pretty straightforward. Get Witherbloom Apprentice, which has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And we are then going to cast a Chain of Smog targeting ourselves. When that resolves, we can then copy it targeting ourselves again, triggering the Magecraft. And this is an infinite combo that can happen on 4 mana. So in an ideal world where you have like a Dark Ritual and a Lotus Petal, this can, in theory, happen on turn 1. Now, is it going to happen on turn 1 a lot? Probably not, but it will happen. This deck list is going to be very low to the ground. We need 4 mana total to win, and we can even split that mana over 2 turns. Meaning on two lands, we can assemble an infinite combo. And that's really cool. Because we're so low to the ground, we can play that Grief Reanimate scam package that you're used to, but one of the cards that you're going to see in this deck is probably new to many of you. While Troll of Khazad-dum is seeing all sorts of legacy play in Fringe decks and in Tier 1 decks, Generous Ent is not seeing nearly as much play. It is a 5/7 with reach that gives you a little bit of food, and the idea is that we can reanimate this, or we can use this to find one of the 2 lands that we're going to need in order to win the game. Though we intend on going fast, sometimes we will need to play a couple of turns of Magic, and we will have some other tutors like Green Sun Zenith or Profane Tutor to help us find our various pieces of the combo. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full deck list now. Now, today's video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. as well as Moxfield.com, and if you need any paper Magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. So this exact build comes to us from Dragon Day Dragon on Discord, and honestly, it feels pretty good. I mentioned that we were going to have some other tutors. Mausoleum Secrets is a bit of a neat one. It has Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with mana value less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So as the game goes on, you are going to cycle things, putting them into your graveyard. And Grief is going to go to your graveyard pretty early on, and, you know, people don't let Orcish Bowmasters sit in play. That's basically illegal. So this is just going to be a demonic tutor for us in many cases. Not every time, but in many cases. So the goal is that between our opening hand and a handful of assorted tutors that we can assemble this combo. And when that doesn't work, just like put a Fatty Boom Boom into play. Attack for 6, attack for 5, attack for 3 with Menace a whole bunch of times. And that's not to mention the fact that, like, we can just reanimate this too. If our opponent goes and answers it with a lightning bolt, we can reanimate it and try again. The sideboard is pretty stock for a green-black deck, although we are definitely seeing a throwback here that I love in the form of Pernicious Deed. And in case you're wondering, the Emrakul is here for Painter's Servant combo so that we can't get milled out by that combo. We are not expecting to cast Emrakul on our 14 lands. So with that being said, let's battle. All right, what are we doing? Probably Grief, Pitch, Grief, Reanimate Grief with Veil of Summer backup. Fuck yeah. Deck's great. So the only big question I've got is, like, do I keep the Chain of Smog or do I pitch the second Grief? The Chain of Smog will let me go and produce a win if I draw a Witherbloom Apprentice, but this game may come down to casting a second Grief. I think I'm going to keep this for the combo win and go with Grief. Opponent's mulliganed once. Let's see what's going on over here. Understood. The Spellbomb's a little annoying. I think I will be taking that. My grief can't leave play. And we are going to reanimate our grief. Force me. Force me. Damn. I wanted the force, and then I would veil. I'd take it all. Now, Mox Opal or Thoughtcast. Mox Opal potentially lets an Urza Saga start activating sooner. Actually, maybe I take Force of Negation, oddly. And then just hardcast a Chain of Smog next turn, trying to hit Urza Saga. I like that. Also, my stomach's a little upset, and I'm still recording. So if you hear any weird tummy noises, no, you didn't. Ooh. So this is a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that I always get to take that Urza Saga, which was the card that I was concerned about from my opponent's hand. The bad news is that I'm left with 2 green cards and no green mana. And my opponent can bobble their way out of this current situation. Yeah, I don't care if you copy this. These green cards do nothing. I will not copy the spell. That Emery was a brutal draw. I'm maybe not supposed to cast the Chain of Smog, and I am supposed to hold it for a combo attempt. It's kind of inconsistent. I'm less sure about that. The Emery ripped apart the way that I was intending on playing this game. No creatures in graveyard. Let's rip a Land Cycler and get something dummy thick into play. Patchwork Automaton. Don't like that for me. That's going to scale up pretty quickly. Also may put me enough on a clock that eventually my creatures need to be held back. Ooh. Sure. Not what I'm looking for. I am going to just fetch to thin. I'll take this Overgrown Tomb out of the deck and crash in with the grief. I am winning the race in terms of life totals, but no. That is more than one body at the same time. I do not want to see that. I wonder at what point my opponent is supposed to get that Aether Spellbomb back and just bounce my grief out of play to cost me that body. I don't think they have to do it yet. Like, continuing to draw cards is perfectly reasonable. Yes. Yes. So you're telling me there's a chance. I think Urza Saga getting Shadow Spear slams the door on this game, though. I think once my opponent gains any life, it's just over. Okay, there's the spell bomb. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-ish creature coming in. Means my blocks aren't the best. Let's do this and use the construct to buy some life. When it's at 7. Chump there. So I'll attack in with my grief. My opponent will bounce it. At least I imagine so. Yep. Let's drop this. Don't have a reanimate target. I pass turn. Don't know how I win from here. Like, what does that win look like? I also just legit might take 12 damage this turn. So there's another construct. My opponent can grab Shadow Spear, get a bauble from graveyard. Yeah. Oh man, another bauble from hand too. Yeah, my opponent can go to 1 if they would like. I'm just grabbing another. Or does bauble just deterministically leave me dead if they bounce my? No, this isn't gonna really be a blocker, is it? Okay. Man, my kingdom for another Bowmasters right now for what's about to happen. If my opponent taps this, They're dead to another Bowmasters. I don't have it. If I eat 10 damage here, I don't have a way to stop this damage, unfortunately. And I think that 10 life does it. I can't really figure out how to win from here. Without going back and like remouthing my opponent's mana and whatnot, I imagine that they had better lines for their turn that don't leave them dead to another Bowmasters. And we'll just do a little peek, see if there's anything spicy. Okay, yeah. All right, we are dead. We have some Null Rods, right? Yeah. So I can Null Rod. Pernicious Deed is pretty gross. And then, like, Veil of Summers and Assassin Trophies technically do stuff. I'm not, like, the most excited about them. I guess conceptually, how am I viewing this matchup? Like, am I viewing this as I want to interact with you, or am I just viewing this as, like, I want to combo off? I don't think I'm going to play Assassin's Trophy either way. And it's just like, is this good here for Force of Will and Force of Negation? Sylvan Safekeeper stops Otawara and potentially Dismember, but I think this is probably expendable. If I'm not on the combo no matter what train, this is how I play it. And this is a time where I just don't have reps with this deck to know how I am supposed to approach the matchup. I'm going to try like this for this game and see how it feels. Crap a troll into play on turn 1? Okay. And as this game goes long, I have both pieces of the combo otherwise, or 5 total mana. But I have kind of 3 lands. Lotus Petal, Bayou, Swamp Cycle, Bayou, Reanimate. We're in business. Ancient Tomb puts Troll into a literal 3-turn clock. Now, I do have to watch my own life total here. Just kind of fully keeping that in mind. My opponent can clock me pretty quickly as well. Ooh, buddy. Sure. All right. So, Bobble redraw. I wonder if there's any timeline where I pivot into not being the beatdown and I hide defensively behind a troll. I don't think we're quite there, but I could end up going there. All right, opponent's at 12. But this Patchwork Automaton could like definitely get scary, and I might need to chump block with a troll to get to the point where I can actually Witherbloom combo. Sure. This is a scary amount of baubles. Oh my god. Okay. So, who dies first is a very real question right now. Let's Swamp Cycle. Pick up yet another, or I guess I'll pick up a Swamp this time. So, Emery represents 1 power on this. One of these baubles plus draw step plus other card in hand probably represents another. I think I have to hold the troll back. Like, despite the fact that this troll kills my opponent in 2 swings, I think they kill me in 1 swing a lot of the time. Or, what if I swing with the troll and chump block with a Witherbloom Apprentice? Is that better? That is like going to be better versus a counterspell. Worse. Well, no, I guess both are really bad versus an Otawara. All right, let's rumble. It seems like I lose to the Improvise card. The Improvise counterspell. Also, I made a small misplay this turn that hopefully doesn't matter. Supposed to cast this prior to the attack, so that if this gets countered by something like a Flusterstorm or whatever, I can still chump block with this. God damn it. And then top deck exactly Witherbloom Apprentice next turn. Oh, my opponent just floated a mana. Oh, fuck for Otawara. I do not have Collector Oof. But if you have Otawara, you bounce this out of the way. You fuck. Ah! Yeah, that was awkward. Yeah, I needed to play that pre-combat. So now I lose for that mistake if my opponent has an artifact that is castable in hand. Okay. 1 from graveyard for Emery. 7 power. Thoughtcast. Surely I'm dead, right? Alright, Chalice on 2 is the 8th point of power, and that will do it. Yeah, so I lost this one for not playing my Green Sun pre-combat. My opponent still maybe wins, but I am still in the game if I sequence it the way that I knew I should have immediately after I attacked. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is just the best place to host your online deck lists, and I don't think it's close. I think it's wonderfully organized, and you can have a great system of folders so that you can go through, separate your decks by whatever you want. I separate mine by format. I have just a few legacy decks, and Moxfield is able to keep track of all the decks that even someone like me makes, so please consider checking them out. Okay. Bayou Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Grief on turn 1, Thoughtseize on turn 2, or just Thoughtseize on turn 1 off a basic, and then maybe cast a Grief on turn 2. I think I'm going to keep this one. I think this is disruptive enough that I'm fine with that. It's a little weird, but I think I'm going to treat this hand as not being a race. Oh, right. So my opponent is intending on going Rite of Flame, Pyretic Ritual, 3 mana, Namesticker Goblin, and trying to high roll into Goblin Rabblemaster and Squee. If I take Rite of Flame, then most of the time I can cast my Grief on turn 2 and take another one of these. But I think I'm just going to take one of the air quotes real threats here. And could get rid of Dark Ritual to Grief the other real card in my opponent's hand, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Because in theory, I would love to just rip Witherbloom Apprentice and go Dark Ritual, Bayou, go. Alright, Pyretic Ritual afterwards. Namesticker Goblin. And then you can play the Squee. Yep. But I think the Dark Ritual is valuable to just race my opponent. If I end up taking the Squee on turn 1 and my opponent just draws any other reasonable threat, then I just kind of end back up in this same position. Alright. So, am I willing to pitch the Dark Ritual now? I think I'm willing to do it now. We will pay the full price for the Grief. Yep. And we'll pass the turn here. This is 4 and exile 4 cards from graveyard. I can probably block the Squee and not have that come back this game. Take 4. The hope being that I draw Witherbloom Apprentice within the next 2 turns. I'm at 10. Rough. So 3rd mana happens. We could see another Goblin Rabblemaster type card come down. I eat 4 damage for this. I can still draw Witherbloom Apprentice this turn and kill the following turn. Or not. I can Chain of Smog my opponent here, discard my 2 copies of Thoughtseize when they throw it back at me. It's actually probably more valuable for me to not show Chain of Smog, because I haven't shown like Witherbloom Apprentice, Chain of Smog stuff yet. And my opponent might not know what I am playing. Maybe I have to take both the Squee and the Rabblemaster on one. I don't know. I did just kind of rip 3 discard spells in a row. So, I don't know. There's an Ent. I am dead. There's the Witherbloom Apprentice, another card deeper. So maybe if I take the Squee on turn 1, I get to this. Then I would need to live 1 more turn afterwards. I don't know what's over here. I guess I should have cast a Thoughtseize. Okay, so I know what sort of things my opponent is doing. My opponent is an aggro deck, just straight up aggro. So I just want to race them. I'm expecting minimal interaction from them. I just basically want to have the combo in my opening hand. I'm not sure how good like the Reanimate Troll stuff is going to be. Like lowering my life total that much is definitely scary. At the very least, this is not a Veil of Summer matchup. I could play some number of these or just play a 3/2 creature. Let's just play a couple removal spells. Bayou, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Witherbloom Apprentice, Chain of Smog on turn 1. Keep these. Mindbreak Trap will get me. But I don't think I am supposed to leave in Veil of Summer for Mindbreak Trap specifically. I would also just go for it on turn 1, like, every time here, as to not get caught up by some random Chalice of the Void or something that my opponent might be playing. I'm not sure if my opponent just walked away for a few minutes or had a very tough mulligan decision. But we'll find out either way. Because all we care about is the existence of Mindbreak Trap. Chain of Smog, target me. Always yield to this. Alright, no Mindbreak Trap. We're a skilled magician. I guess this isn't really good, right? I want to run something like a Pernicious Deed that is just a gajillion mana. This has a 3-mana destroy tokens. I'm going to treat this as a, like, blow-up Chalice of the Void card for when I'm on the draw. That is Witherbloom Apprentice, Chain of Smog combo, and kind of 2 lands. But we're going to have to pitch this one, unfortunately. Not going to have any early cards in my graveyard for Mausoleum Secrets. I can just Dark Ritual, Bowmasters, and keep this hand. I think I'm going to do that. This is weird. What the fuck is this? Why? Why? Double Spirit Guide. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. So that's a thing. So my opponent is going to forge that up to 5 toughness. Okay. I think we're still all right. Mausoleum Secrets came back. So I just go like Dark Ritual, Bowmasters. I ping their face once. I ping Caves of Chaos Adventure once. Or no, I need 5 total. So I go ping. Yeah, we can make this work. I'm just, it's a little tough for me to believe that there's just, I think I do this right now. Surely they have better sideboard cards than this. I don't know. I may be missing something. Dark Ret. Bow Boy. Ping you. Bow Boy. Ping you. Another Leyline of Life Force. Okay. So I need a little bit more damage in front of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to keep 1 Bowmasters around that I can use to take the initiative back from my opponent. That gets me a basic land to play Witherbloom Apprentice. All right. Nice. Send them. Oh. This is great. Basic swamp. Land drop. Play the Witherbloom. Mausoleum Secrets is going to be able to get me Chain of Smog next turn. Yeah, life's good. I am just going to forge up a body anyway, though, and start working on the alternate win condition of killing my opponent. GG's. I've got a weird one here. So on turn 1, I can Dark Ritual, play Bowmasters, and cycle. And that's fine. I think it's a keep. It's weird, though. Yeah. I'm gonna hold up the instant speed Bowmasters. It's possible I'm supposed to just sorcery speed it. But there will be times where I decide that I want to, like, cast a Mausoleum Secrets instead of a Bowmaster, for example. Riftstone Portal. Sure. Exploration. My opponent's hand is fast. Okay. So I would like my Dark Ritual to go towards a combo turn. I don't think Fair Orcish Bowmasters is going to do a lot in this matchup based on what I'm seeing here. So let's do some cycling end of turn. I'm just going to get non-basics. I think if my opponent has Wasteland, it is already going to be crushing. All right. So, I've got some good stuff. I've got a bunch of Orcish Bowmaster chump blocks available. And once I draw half of my combo, Mausoleum Secrets represents the other half. Fuck! I'm just dead next turn. I'm fully dead to Dark Depths next turn. I guess I could reanimate a Generous Ent to buy a turn. Holy fuck, this is bad. Alright. Forest Cycle for Bayou. On my own turn, I have 4, 5, 6 mana, which could be Mausoleum Secrets, Witherbloom, Chain. I do not need to use this extra mana from Bayou right now. I can take one more draw step and try to get lucky. Come on! Okay, that buys a turn. So we will land drop. Here we go. All right, reanimate a Generous Ent. Make a food token. Pass the turn. Now, exactly right now, I do only have one creature in graveyard for Mausoleum Secrets. So yeah. I am expecting the Generous Ent to just, they get down Mr. President and die defending against this Merit Lage. Let's see how bad this is. It could be like Shadow Spear levels of bad. Oh no, bro. No. All right. All right. I now need 6 mana on my turn. I have 4. Dark Ritual is 5. This is gonna get got by that. Alright. Next game. Oof. Okay. Sylvan Safekeeper is not great. Orcish Bowmasters are not great here. Veil of Summer, also not particularly good. That is a lot of cards. An Assassin's Trophy to disrupt their combo. Like an Oppo Agent to disrupt their combo. I could mess around with some of this stuff as well. I'm not the most excited about it. But it does look like we're primarily on combo plans for this game. I'm going to play some Surgicals. I'm going to say this is not enough mana to be functional. Reanimate Troll is a plan. Mausoleum Secrets for a second Reanimate. Reanimate Ent. Yeah. Okay. We'll get rid of Opposition Agent for being slow in this matchup then. Opponent going to 5. Okay, good. No initial Leyline or something there. Do I have a basic forest? Is that a thing that is in this deck? Yes. We'll just pass the turn. Sure. That's a Bojuka Bog. Sure. Let's start this game on basics, because I think I can afford to do so without it being weird. Ooh, I can even Thoughtseize first. Sounds good. Crop Rotation and Sphere. I don't think Sphere does a lot with the number of lands that I have. I'm going to take their Crop Rotation. And we're going to reanimate the Troll and hope this races what my opponent is capable of doing. I am at 11. Elvish Reclaimer is a good amount of utility. Ooh. We are also threatening a combo kill now. Bam. Opponent is at 14. I'm going to Forest Cycle. Play the basic and pass. If things get weird, I can immediately Mausoleum Secrets for like a Reanimate or a Surgical. Yeah. Maze is good. Now this does not leave my opponent with a lot of mana. That's the good news for me. Stage is a great top deck for my opponent. Sure. So I will attempt to punch my opponent. Sure. Now, if I would like, I can Mausoleum Secrets or another Reanimate. But given that I'm just like one cycling creature away from potentially comboing off, I don't think I like doing that. I'll do it if my opponent like starts working towards Merit Lodge nonsense, but I think they're going to work towards wow, blanking on the name of the white land, Flagstones. Oh no, Urza Saga instead, sure. So if they hit another land, they can start making construct tokens. Ooh, they did not. Yeah, this is why I thought they were going to go towards other stuff. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total mana. So I will swamp cycle a troll, find a Bayou, play a Bayou. I'll force my opponent to tap their Maze of Ith, send them in, get mazed. And we do this because Yavimaya is a card that exists in my opponent's deck list, and like tapping that can like very much be relevant. I'm going to assume that there's not a second Bojuka Bog and just cast this. I guess I also could have like gone for Assassin's Trophy on Maze of Ith, but this feels fine as well. No Elvish Reclaimer activation. My opponent will probably tap Urza Saga for mana. They could rotate it then for some extra value. Playing Sphere doesn't stop me from comboing off. Soul Guide Lantern is fine. I think you're supposed to take out a creature. It doesn't really matter because like the Soul Guide Lantern can clean up the other half unless they have to cash it in immediately to draw a card. Life from the Loam, sure. They might just fully be in the situation where they have to just hope that I don't have it. All right. Lotus Petal. Play Delta. Chain of Smog, target me. And we'll see if my opponent has anything. They did not. We go to a game 3. In a game 3 scenario, is there any way I want to do something weird like have a tutorable Pernicious Deed? Because this does blow up Urza Saga. I don't know. I don't need this third surgical. This like both of those pitch to grief. Sure. Let's just have an out to a couple of Urza Saga construct tokens. This hand is very slow. I could keep it and I have a bunch of land drops to battle sphere effects. But I'm just fully dead to my opponent making a Merit Lodge because I think I'm not going to be fast enough with this hand. I think I'm going to mulligan once, and I would keep something of that caliber on a 6. This goes and does nothing. I don't have a Reanimate for these. I don't have a Witherbloom Apprentice or a Tutor for these. I would keep and pray on 5, but let's go to 5. Okay. Fetch. Dark Ritual. 3 mana. Cycle Troll, 2 mana. Cast Mausoleum Secrets or Reanimate. Lotus Petal, Reanimate. Yeah. This is a 5-card hand, so that's all we get. We're hoping to not eat a sphere on turn 1. No sphere, no sphere, no sphere, no sphere. That's fine. So now Crop Rotation Bojuka Bog is the thing that can get me. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Now what land I get is a whole nother question. I think it's just Bayou. Dark Ritual. Swamp Cycle. Get another Bayou. Cast the Mausoleum Secrets. Just feeling that Bojuka Bog. Feel it in my soul. But we're going for it. Alright, we have a troll in play. Maze of Ith can be a major setback here, but we have a 3-ish turn clock in play. My opponent does have Exploration. You know, they can just stage depths this turn, and I will die to that. Negative. Next turn, though. My troll is not going to be fast enough. We need, like, runner here. Runner number 1. That's one of the cards that I'm looking for. I need Chain of Smog next turn. We've got a narrative. Witherbloom Apprentice, rookie batter up to bat. His big moment. Dark Depths, I assume. It is Dark Depths. This has been a high velocity matchup here. We have minimal ability to interact with each other. We're just sitting here punching each other. No, I lose to that. Or no, I don't. I can still Dark Ritual Chain. I've already played Witherbloom. I don't need all 4 in one turn. JK. All right. Come on, Chain. Oh! Anyway, if you want to have your own YouTube channel, just draw this good. It's so easy. Chain of Smog, target me. My opponent is casting a crop rotation. You have something spicy that can remove a Witherbloom Apprentice? You don't have black mana, so yeah. So like a Cabal Pit doesn't do it or anything. Alright, GG's. Okay, my initial opening hand doesn't really do anything here with double Veil of Summer. It's kind of like a double mulligan already. I don't have Reanimate. I am lacking in the mana. Down to 5. This is bad 5-card hand. Is keeping a hand that has 2 consistent lands and 1/2 of the combo worth it? I'm gonna say no, because like I have so many like land, grief, black card, reanimate, caliber 4-card hands that I'm willing to go deeper here. This, however, is not one of them. So we are going to keep land, Chain of Smog for sure. Veil always goes back. It gets more interesting from there. If I keep Dark Ritual, I can turn 2 if I get lucky and draw exactly Witherbloom Apprentice. I'm going to say that I'm probably not winning a fair Bowmaster game here. I'm also going to say that I would rather be better versus Wasteland than keep the Dark Ritual for the turn 2 possibility. The good news is, I got my opponent into Magic Online. The bad news is, this terrible person has taken my only relevant cards from my hand. We're in trouble, folks. Life's bad. I also might be playing against an opposition agent deck. So yeah. In respect of Oppo, I am going to fully just fetch ahead of time and pass the turn. I expect to be obliterated in this game 1, and we'll try again for a game 2 scenario. Okay. I'm going to hold up my Bowmasters, or presumably their end of turn Bowmasters. Oh no, it's worse. So, my opponent's going to have Reanimates, so that's a thing that I'm going to have to respect here. Potentially having to worry about, like, Reanimate from my opponent and opposition at the same time is a special sort of hell for me. Alright, it is the Animate Dead. So Animate Dead is notably not Reanimate, so it does not cost my opponent life. I'm gonna fetch around opposition agent here again. We'll grab this Overgrown Tomb. I definitely don't want that. As a 5/5, I could get a land and reasonably triple block this card. No. Okay, so I don't think I have to play around opposition agent anymore. It seems like my opponent's on like a mono black reanimator deck list. Yeah. Palantir. Okay. All right, I like this. I think I just sack the orc and then make a new orc. Note here, I am not trying to kill this. I am trying to keep extra bodies around in hopes of getting Witherbloom Apprentice as my draw step into Chain of Smog, but I missed on that. And at that point, we're definitely dead. So, mono black Reanimator with Palantirs. I guess the way I want to do this is, what cards do I want to cut? Bowmaster's not the greatest here. This is going to be my protection versus discard. And then I can probably play about 3 copies of Graveyard Hate. If I'm willing to get rid of something like Mausoleum Secrets, I can play more. I think I am willing to accept that. If I cut the Bowmaster's, Palantir is something that can run around unchecked. Maybe that's fine. Also, do I cut all of them and do this? I don't know. Maybe I need this. We're pod racing, though, this round. Land, Lotus Petal, Witherbloom Apprentice on turn 1. Turn 2, Chain of Smog. Okay. Let's fetch. Bayou. Petal. Witherbloom. A Thoughtseize makes this hand a little awkward. I guess on the other hand, my opponent's Exhumes are really awkward too, huh? If this is Archon and I lose this, it's brutal. Yeah, Generous Ent not being a black card that pitches to grief could cost me this one. That's Archon. And this is the worst case scenario. My opponent has produced an Archon. That causes me to sacrifice that creature. I don't think I beat an Archon that's in play, right? This is just a 2-turn clock, 9 then 18. Yeah, I don't beat that. You've got it, opponent. GG. Okay. I have both pieces of the combo, so I think I keep this hand. I might burn Lotus Petal on turn 1 to suspend Profane Tutor. Let's talk about this, Sven, huh? How bad is this going to be for me? Okay. Honestly, that could have been a lot worse. Missed sequencing there. That's supposed to be Ancient Tomb, Patchwork Automaton, and then Lotus Petal. My opponent missed a +1/+1 counter. I think I am going to blow Lotus Petal to Profane Tutor. Let's grab a Bayou, Lotus Petal, spend Profane Tutor. So we've got both halves of the combo queued up. I've got land drops covered. My opponent could be a colorless deck or could be a blue deck. We don't know yet. That is a lot of Ancient Tomb. All right, they are a Thoughtcast variant. Okay, that's another Patchwork Automaton. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they drew that one off the Thoughtcast. I think I'm successfully racing these, but counterspells are a problem for me right now. I think we're just going to pull some stuff out of the deck here. All right, grab a Bayou. I'm just going to cycle this one too. I'll still have a 3rd land drop for next turn. And then if Profane Tutor gets countered, I have ever so marginally increased my chance of drawing a Witherbloom Apprentice. I'm going to imagine the Reanimate plan is probably off the table at this point anyway. Seriously? I'm only taking 3 damage this turn? That is insane. Okay. Cast Profane Tutor. Get a Witherbloom Apprentice. Would love to find a discard spell. I'm going to cast Witherbloom Apprentice and see if it resolves. It does. All right. Cast Dark Ritual. Do I do a Chain of Smog targeting my opponent? Nah. Not get cute. Attempt the combo. My opponent should not counterspell here. If they have a counterspell, they should let me discard my entire hand first. Honestly, I'm surprised here. My opponent had 5 cards in hand that were not colorless cards to scale up Patchwork Automaton. They weren't lands. So my opponent must have had just literally 5 blue cards and none of them were counterspells? That's wild. Okay. Do I have a bad read on my opponent's deck? Like, is my opponent not 8-cast and there's something spicier going on over there? Got some things to think about. I think I've got 5 cards that I can think about for sideboarding. I'm probably going to go Sylvan's Safekeeper out. Against Patchwork Automatons that are aggressive, I don't know that I'm super interested in these. I think for the game that I'm on the draw, I'm going to do these. And then after I get a little bit more information about my opponent's deck, I'll decide if I want to Veil of Summer for a game where I'm on the play. I do not have a starting mana source here, so this one's going back. This is, like, not bad. I just play fair Orcish Bowmasters, hope it pings my opponent for a bunch, and then have decent mana. Yeah. I'm going to say that this is acceptable. I don't think I want to just mulligan into Oblivion here. Sure. All right. Big mana plays. Chalice is fine. Chalice on 1 is not doing much against me right now. And, like, in this matchup, Chalice is potentially even supposed to go on 2. Sure. Let's go land drop. I'm going to just preemptively fetch. Grab a Bayou. We're going to play double Lotus Petal and pass the turn. We'll see if my opponent cracks their bauble or not. If they crack their bauble, I Bowmasters. Sure, so you can look at a random card in my hand. You've seen my Verdant Catacombs. I will now Bowmaster you. Is good enough for a Force of Will. Pitching Kappa Cannoneer. I'm going to call that a win for me. I think I'm happy enough with that outcome. Sure. Okay. Between the Patchwork Automaton mistakes that we saw previously and that, I'm going to take it that my opponent is a newer Legacy player. Let's do our ever so marginal deck thinning and drop the Witherbloom Apprentice. We'll be looking to Chain of Smog. Very notably, my opponent just played their Shadow Spear, so that's not in their deck anymore for Urza Saga to fetch and help them recover life. That could be relevant. There's a troll on my end. I think I just hardcast a Grief this turn. I don't know that I'm going to be super interested in losing 6 life to reanimate a troll. All right, what's going on with your hand? Force of Negation, Thoughtcast, Chalice. We'll take Force of Negation. That stops me from comboing off. Chalice is also very bad. And against a more experienced opponent, I might just take the Chalice. I don't think my opponent's going to put Chalice on 2. Like, if I were in their position, my turn would be fetch Lotus Petal, cast Chalice on 2, and slam the door on this game. But I am going to guess that my opponent is just going to make another construct here. Mox Opal? Oh, I see. Are they viewing that Mox Opal as blue for Thoughtcast? All right, they did do the Chalice on 2. Sure. I boarded in Pernicious Deed, right? Yes. Okay. This has Menace, so this attack is still valid. Opponent's at 10. We'll Swamp Cycle this, get the tapped land, and get that out of the way. Note that at any point, I can still cast Thoughtseize for 1 point of damage off Witherbloom Apprentice. All right, sure. Okay. Looks like my opponent's got a Kappa Cannoneer. That's okay. I still get a Grief attack. That puts my opponent to 5. They don't have Shadow Spear in their deck. I'm not going to die in 1 attack. I might even still be favored here, oddly. Chain of Smog. So I will attack with my Grief that has Menace. Hit my opponent to 5. Thoughtseize. Target you. Oh no! Chalice of the Void. Oh, my spell got countered. My opponent's at 4. I'm going to cast this as a 1 damage burn spell. Put my opponent to 3. They are dead to Grief, so they can no longer attack me. And they can't really ever tap this Ancient Tomb, or they're just going to die to a single Witherbloom Apprentice trigger. Ooh, that's a Dismember from my opponent. They are at 1 life. Wall. There's that Pernicious Deed I was talking about. Opponent has 1 card available, so they have nothing that stops what is about to happen, I don't think. Crack that for 1. This is going to blow up these permanents, meaning that a grief attack is now lethal. And that'll mean we have a positive finish of 3-2 for this league. That was fun. I enjoyed playing with this deck list. There's a little bit of awkwardness in some of the cards. Like, I think the list overall is pretty good. But since you are a Reanimate deck, people are going to bring in Graveyard Hate against you, which means that Mausoleum Secrets gets significantly worse in Game 2. And when you take something out of the graveyard and reanimate it, that also decreases the count for this. Maybe I'm supposed to be cutting Mausoleum Secrets more aggressively in post-sideboard games because I anticipate Graveyard Hate. Then again, sometimes I'm just going to show them Witherbloom Apprentice combo in Game 1 and then like, oops, I reanimated is the Game 2 thing. I theoretically like Veil of Summer. There's a lot of black in the format right now, and there's a lot of like blue-black specifically where it will shine. Veil didn't necessarily have the best league this time around. I'm still a little bit unsure whether or not I should be playing that versus 8 cast. I think the answer is no, but I can't say that with certainty without more reps in the matchup specifically. Some of our sideboard cards did some work, and something that I didn't talk about in the intro, like when you have a black sideboard card that can be fetched by Mausoleum Secrets, it's really like you're running 4 copies of it rather than 1 copy of that, and that's pretty cool. So I think I give this deck list a thumbs up. I don't know that I have any major suggestions. I think I boarded out Sylvan Safekeeper basically every round, but if I were to have played against some sort of like Jeskai control deck list that's running around with Swords to Plowshares and Prismatic Ending, and maybe even also Leyline Binding, I would have really appreciated it in those matchups. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider clicking the like button on the way out or leaving a comment. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you need any of these magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!